Hello, welcome to Goodnight Flagstaff. I'm Kathy Farretta. This is one of my favorite books. I'm very delighted to be able to share it with you. Thank you for tuning in to our community story time. You can find a new chapter from one of our favorite family-friendly books at 8 p.m. each weeknight on the Literacy Center's YouTube channel and on Crater Radio, a local online radio station. The previous chapter is replayed on Crater Radio each weeknight at about 7:45, just before the new chapter airs. You can also listen to all previous Goodnight Flagstaff recordings on YouTube. We are currently reading Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. If you'd like to check it out to read along with us at home, it is available in the Hoopla app with your Coconino County Library card. Check one out today. Please email us if you'd like to join our team of readers and connect with your community through stories. All ages welcome. Our email is goodnightflagstaff@gmail.com. Last time we read together, Nizhoni woke up from a dream about too many coats to find that Mr. Yazzie asked the holy people to redirect the train up the side of a mountain. Mac and Davery confirm that Mr. Yazzie is real, and they listen to him tell them about their powers and the monster's powers. They aren't to trust anyone. Do you think Mr. Yazzie untrustworthy too? Chapter 17, The White Mountain. We gather our backpacks and stumble out of the train into the snowy landscape. Our breath puffs in the air, and I zip up my hoodie, already missing the warmth of the Albuquerque spring. Out here it seems to be sunrise, but that doesn't make sense. We didn't spend the night on the train. Mr. Yazzie hops up on a nearby boulder and clears his throat. Welcome to Nizhoni, he proclaims, flinging out his tiny arms. The mountain of the dawn, the easternmost sacred mountain, and the home of the rock crystal guardians and the gray dove heralds. His voice rings through the snowy valley, and the last word of each sentence comes back to us in reverberating echoes. Also, he adds, the Guardians had some very delicious corn cakes last time I visited. Really the best. So there's more than one sacred mountain? I ask. Yes, Mr. Yazzie explains. There are 4, one for each of the cardinal directions, east, south, west, and north. They were set in place by the Dyin-Neden-A and equipped with a guardian and a herald to care for the land. They surround the ancestral home of the Dene people, and each represents a powerful part of Navajo history and culture. 4 mountains bind you to your home. That's the second line in the song, Davery says, looking at the cart lady's note, which I'd let him keep to puzzle over. He scratches his ear thoughtfully. It's starting to make sense. But why are we even here? Mac asks. I thought we were going to Spider Rock to see some lady. I arranged for a little detour, says Mr. Yazzie, so we can find gifts for Naushje Esande. Who is that anyway? Mac asks. Her name means Spider Woman. He starts to say something. I cut him off. And no, she isn't related to Peter Parker. He looks a little disappointed. She has a map we need, but we can't just show up empty-handed and start asking her for stuff, Davery says. That would be rude. Indeed, Mr. Yazzie agrees. So we will visit the 4 sacred mountains and gather an item for each place. A perfect white shell from Nizhoni, a piece of turquoise from Zoze, an abalone shell from Duco Osclid, and a nugget of black jet from Dibenisa. Oh, those are mentioned in the song, Davery says excitedly, pointing at the sheet. white shell, blue turquoise, abalone, and jet. I look over his shoulder. Right under the part about the 4 kinds of stones, it says, 2 to remember, 1 to forget. The last take from the progenitor's debt. But what about the next part about remembering and forgetting? I ask. And what the heck is a progenitor, and how are we going to take from his debt? I thought debt was like something you owed people. I can't tell you, Mr. Yazzie says. The song was meant for you to understand, not me. Progenitor is like your ancestor, Davery says, but I haven't figured out the rest yet. My breath is puffing in tiny frosty clouds in front of my face as I look around at the white mountain peaks that surround us. There are so many things to keep up with and so much to learn. Spiders and rainbows, talking stones, fields of knives, and of course, the phrase that is bothering me the most, beware, beware, the friendly toad. I hate to think poorly of Mr. Yazzie, but I can't ignore the words of the song. I vow to trust him for now, but to stay alert. I'm really cold, Max says, his teeth chattering as he tucks his hands into his long sleeves. Is anyone else freezing out here? For now, let's focus on the mountains and getting the 4 gifts we need, Mr. Yazzie says. Are you right, Mr. Yazzie? Davery asks. I remember from biology class that horned toads don't do well in the cold. Now that you mention it, he says, I do seem to be rather chilly. I scoop up our tiny guide and tuck him into the neck of my hoodie, between my warm shirt and the fleece. I make sure he's cozy but leave enough room around him so he can still get out. Is he okay? Mac asks. Horned toads freeze in cold weather, Davery says. It's hibernation response. He'll be fine in a few minutes, once Nizhoni warms him up. Maybe we should look around and try to find somewhere inside, I suggest. Do you really think that's a good idea? Mac asks, peering around nervously. We don't want to wander off the edge of a cliff or something. We'll be fine, I say, starting off toward the closest white peak on the edge of the meadow. He said there's a guardian here on this mountain, right? We'll just look for them while we wait for Mr. Yazzie to warm up. I don't know, Z, Davery says, looking uneasy. The guardian may not be friendly. He or she could be the one Mr. Yazzie warned us not to trust. I mean, guardian does imply there's something worth guarding, and this guardian person might not take too kindly to us stomping all over their mountain looking for... What exactly are we looking for? A white shell, I say, remembering what Mr. Yazzie said. This doesn't look like the ideal place to find a white shell, Max says. I have to agree, Davery says. But I do. I stop in my tracks, resting my hands on my hips, and look at my companions. Maybe you two have forgotten, but we are on a quest here, not a ski vacation. And frankly, neither of you sounds particularly questish. In fact, you sound like you're already giving up. Davery frowns. I don't think questish is a real word. It doesn't matter if it's a real word, I say, feeling exasperated. What matters is that we find that shell now. I motion toward the mountain peak. Fine, Davery says, but I have a feeling we're going to regret this. Stop worrying so much, I say. We'll be fine. And that's when the arrow comes flying through the air to thunk into the ground, inches from my toes. Thank you for joining us. Join again next time for Chapter 18 of Race to the Sun. Good night, Flagstaff.